Here today on some new construction. This is the 1 year mark, and so we're just going back. I wish I could say this was a routine inspection, but we are actually here because it is leaking and the builder is claiming hail damage. And so, of course, as per usual, our leak is actually coming in right here at the head wall flashing. So we got a few issues here, and what you can kind of notice when you look along this is they used the wrong metal. And so this is the right kind of metal used. The problem is this bend right here. And so this metal, I'd have to guess, was bent at a 90, maybe 100 degree. But what we've actually got here is closer to 110, 120. And so what's happening is that this metal is constantly trying to resume its normal shape because it didn't bend it to the proper shape first. Ideally, if you've got an angle, say this angle is 120, you want to have your metal bent at 125. So you want it to be slightly more than this angle here. That way it's actually putting pressure down. Then when you seal it, you fasten it, you actually create a good seal right there. Instead, we've got metal constantly prying against it. You've got large gaps between fasteners. Quite frankly, the wrong kind of sealant for this application, but that's another issue. They missed the mark on where to seal half the time. You can tell that they just used a gun, cocked it in, never tooled it. So that's another issue. So all that's done incorrectly, and that's what's leading to the leak. But since we're already here, we're looking at other things. One of the other ones I spotted on the way up, and this is pretty common. Matter of fact, this is in the majority of new construction homes. When the gutter guys came in, they cut open the drip edge there and just butchered it all to heck. And so there's a good chance that there's water getting back into that soffit there. At the very least, we know it's leaking between the fascia and the gutter. And then just kind of walking around, just looking at general roof maintenance. I did already look at one side. Originally, I wasn't going to do too much video on this because there wasn't too much going on. So we just got a bunch of exposed fasteners everywhere. Plastic that was stuck to the back of the shingle went ahead and left. Debris like leftover nails and screws. Now you can tell this was cut in after the fact. And there's two reasons you can tell that. First off, look at the way the cut forms. And so when that kind of cut happens, it's because they cut it after the layers were applied. If they had put this in originally, they would have put the shingle in and cut each layer. And so this is just common new construction. This happens just about everywhere. They painted over top of it afterwards. You know, hey, you get these vents months, sometimes years in advance. Why not just spray them, leave them on the ground, and then take them up when you need them? Pipe boots, same situation, except for no paint. And here's a fun one. So this has something protruding upward, and if you lift it up, you can actually see it's a clip from the framing. So the roofers didn't properly inspect it before going over it, but the framers didn't do their job right either. So kind of a mixture of both. More plastic there, plastic up there. Exposed fastener. Very easy. We call them shiners, depending on where you're at. More plastic. So that's just the plastic from the shingle bundle stuck to the underside. It allows a little chance for moisture entry. Not enough that I worry about a leak. Weakens it against wind. Not enough that I'd cause a major fuss. It's just a lack of professionalism is what I would mark it down as. More plastic, more debris, more screws, more exposed nails. Really the question is, why is there so many screws up here when there's nothing up here on this side that should have screws? And here's another exposed fastener, another shiner. And now this goes back to the framing inspection. So that right there is a nail used to fasten in the decking that wasn't all the way in. Now, the framing guys should have caught that and fixed it. But hey, they missed a few. The framing inspector should have caught it and made him fix it. But hey, he doesn't get on the roof. The roofers, when laying out the felt, should have caught that and fixed it, because it would have made the felt stick up. And then while shingling, there's no way, while putting on the final cover, that they weren't aware of that. But they chose not to. And so I haven't really looked at this side other than to check for hail, because of course our builders always blame hail when it leaks. Welcome to every new construction site ever. They always cause leaks and they always blame the inhabitant or the weather. Of course rain makes it leak. That's when it gets water. Very, very poorly installed anchor point. I wouldn't trust that to hold my material, let alone my own weight. Huge gap between two shingles. Overall, not the worst thing I've seen on this site yet. So this is a new construction neighborhood. I've probably inspected about a dozen of these by now since they started building them. And they all pretty much come out like this. So we have some solar panels installed. Now I don't touch too much on solar, so maybe some of you solar guys could help out here. I know how the mounts are supposed to install into the roof, but I don't know how the panels themselves get installed, so that's about my limitations. I feel like those wires should have a bit more protection, but I'm not sure. Again, exposed fastener. And just all over, this is what we're looking at. And so most of these items are not overly concerning. As far as the shiners go, the exposed fasteners, you know, take a $12 tube of sealant, go through, seal every one, easy peasy. Yeah, so that has to be replaced. That has to be replaced. That has to be replaced. And I wish I could say this was abnormal, but this is new construction. Ideally, that should be replaced. But overall, this is actually probably the... you can see just how many spots here they had to seal the exposed fasteners. So whoever inspected, GC or building inspector, probably never made it past here, considering the other sides. Main things to fix are going to be this ridge, that head wall flashing, and we'll have to do something about the drip edge. Overall, for this neighborhood, this is actually pretty great.